Have you ever felt that strange emptiness, that exhaustion in your soul after certain habits? It's not just in your head. Something deeper is at play. God's chosen ones, you are carrying an incredible energy within you, a vital force that connects you to the divine. But what happens when that energy is drained, misused, or stolen? The truth is, the battle for your spiritual strength is real, and it's time to uncover a secret that has been hidden for far too long. Masturbation isn't just a physical act, it's a spiritual trap, one that targets your very essence. You've felt it, the emptiness, the demotivation, the sense that something important is slipping away. That's not random, that's spiritual warfare. In this video, we'll expose the hidden forces that threaten your energy, your mental clarity, and your connection with the divine. It's time to understand how this seemingly harmless habit weakens you, and more importantly, how to break free. You are not meant to live in this cycle, you were chosen for something greater. If this resonates with you, comment 777 below to declare your intention to reclaim your strength. Subscribe to this channel and activate the bell so you can be part of this journey of spiritual awakening. To everyone who's felt the weight of this struggle, thank you. You are not alone. This path of transformation is a process, and every step forward is a victory. Together, we will rise. So, let me ask you, what is your spirit calling you to release, and how can you reclaim the power that is rightfully yours? God's chosen ones, 3 secrets to stop masturbation from threatening your spiritual life. In many spiritual traditions, the channeling of sexual energy is not just a natural occurrence, but a profoundly important aspect of our spiritual journey. Have you ever considered that the energy tied to sexuality carries the power of creation itself? This energy is revered as one of the most powerful forces within the human being. When directed with wisdom, it can transform our lives, elevate our spirituality, and even protect us from negative spiritual influences. But when we allow this powerful energy to be wasted, the opposite occurs. Rather than manifesting positive change, it weakens us spiritually, leaving us vulnerable to energetic attacks. And this is where the battle begins. The spiritual path is not one of self-judgment, but of self-mastery. Have you felt that surrendering to the cycle of temptation leaves you drained and disconnected from your higher self? After indulging, many of us experience a sense of emptiness, sadness, or a feeling that something is missing. That's not a coincidence. You are feeling the effects of energy depletion, and the more you feed into this cycle, the more spiritually distant you become. When you give up your precious life force, that energy that is meant to fortify you spiritually is being siphoned away, leaving you spiritually depleted. In 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, we are reminded, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own, you were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies." When you realize that your body is a sacred vessel, a home for the Holy Spirit, it becomes clear that the misuse of this energy is not just a physical issue, it is a spiritual one. The energy meant for creation, for growth, and for divine purpose is being redirected in ways that do not serve your higher calling. This cycle of misuse leads to weakness, and with that, spiritual vulnerability. Have you noticed how hard it is to reconnect with your divine purpose after engaging in this cycle? The more you feed this habit, the more disconnected you feel from your intuition and your connection to God. The spiritual erosion is subtle, but over time, you begin to feel further away from your true self. So, what can you do to break free from this cycle? The first step is to understand that this is not just a physical battle, it is a spiritual war for your energy. When sexual energy is misused, it diminishes your connection to your higher self and to the divine. But when you choose to channel that energy towards spiritual growth through prayer, meditation, or aligning with your divine mission, you reclaim your power. By honoring your body and your soul's purpose, you direct this energy in a way that fortifies your spirituality, not diminishes it. What would it mean for you to align your energy with your true divine purpose, to redirect it towards strengthening your connection with God? In James 1:14-15, it is written, "But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death." The battle with temptation is not one of mere physical urges, but one of spiritual consequence. The more we give into these desires, the further we drift from the divine flow of energy that sustains us. Each indulgence weakens our connection with the divine, and we find ourselves in a cycle of sin, which ultimately leads to spiritual death. But when we resist and redirect that energy, we break free from this cycle and reclaim our spiritual strength. The second secret to overcoming this struggle is self-discipline. Mastery over our impulses strengthens our connection to the divine. It is through discipline that we gain control not only over our bodies but over our minds and spirits. Have you ever felt that inner peace and strength when you've resisted temptation? That feeling of being aligned with your higher self, of knowing that your energy is sacred and protected, that is the power of self-discipline, and it is through this discipline that we cultivate a stronger spiritual connection. In Proverbs 25-28, it says, "Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control." Without self-discipline, we allow our spiritual defenses to be weakened. Our energy, our vitality, and our connection to God become vulnerable, and the cycle of temptation continues. When you choose to master your desires, you build strong spiritual walls that protect you from the negative influences around you. Your intuition becomes sharper, your clarity stronger, and you align more deeply with God's purpose for your life. Finally, the third secret to breaking this cycle is understanding that the energy we seek in fleeting moments of temptation is a misguided search for true spiritual connection. Have you ever felt that deep longing for connection but never fully satisfied by temporary desires? That's because the true connection you're seeking is not physical or fleeting. It is a connection to the divine, to your higher self, and to your eternal purpose. When you redirect your sexual energy towards spiritual practices, you align yourself with that greater connection. As Psalm 37:4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Your true desires are meant to be fulfilled by the divine. When you allow yourself to connect to the divine, that inner longing for fulfillment and connection is satisfied in ways that no physical indulgence can ever replicate. So, how do you break free from this cycle once and for all? It starts with understanding the sacredness of your energy and your body, practicing self-discipline to protect that energy, and redirecting your desires toward deeper spiritual practices that align you with your divine truth. When you reclaim your energy, you step into your power as a chosen one, walking in alignment with your higher self and your divine purpose. Are you ready to reclaim your energy and restore your connection to the divine? The path is clear. You have the power to redirect your energy, to elevate your spirituality, and to break free from the cycle that has been draining you. When you make this commitment, you will not only reclaim your strength, but you will also live a life that is aligned with your divine mission, one that is filled with clarity, peace, and spiritual protection. As you walk on your spiritual journey, the connection between your mind, body, and soul becomes increasingly vital. Have you ever noticed how, when your energy is aligned and focused, your mind becomes clearer, and you are able to perceive the signs that the universe is sending you? This clarity is a direct result of honoring your spiritual energy, using it to elevate your consciousness and deepen your connection with the divine. When your energy is used in sacred ways, you can tap into a higher vibration where you are more in tune with the spiritual world, receiving guidance and wisdom that enriches your journey. But what happens when that energy is repeatedly wasted, when it is unconsciously given away to lower desires and fleeting pleasures? One of the most significant areas where this energy is often drained is through the habit of uncontrolled masturbation. Have you ever felt a sense of guilt, or perhaps a detachment from your spiritual center after giving in to this habit? It's a common experience to feel as though your vibration has dropped, and with that, it becomes harder to maintain focus on your spiritual journey. You may even feel as though God's presence is distant, or that your ability to connect with your higher self and perceive divine guidance has waned. This feeling is not just emotional, it is a deeply energetic shift. When you engage in masturbation, especially when fueled by fantasies or content that is laden with dense or low-frequency energy, you are not just indulging in a physical act. You are creating a barrier between yourself and the sacred. This barrier is not merely psychological, it is energetic. Every time you unconsciously give away your vital energy, your spiritual life force, your vibration is lowered. And with that drop in vibration comes a reduction in your ability to feel the divine presence. It's as if a veil is placed between you and the spiritual world, making it harder to receive answers to your prayers, perceive the signs from the universe, and even sense the guidance that is always available to you. In Ephesians 4:30, we are reminded, "And do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed for the day of redemption." When you give away your energy in a way that is not aligned with your highest purpose, you are grieving the Holy Spirit within you. You are dimming the light that connects you to the divine, making it harder to hear the subtle whispers of guidance that are always present. Have you noticed how, after you give in to this temptation, you feel a sense of separation or emptiness? The energy you once had, the spiritual clarity that guided you, now seems clouded. This is not a punishment, but the natural consequence of misdirecting your energy. When your energy is wasted, it creates a dissonance in your spiritual field, lowering your vibration and making it difficult to perceive the divine presence. This is why spiritual practices such as meditation, prayer, and mindful living are so essential. They help you realign and raise your vibration so that you can once again feel God's presence and guidance in your life. But there is good news. You have the power to break this cycle. The first step is recognizing that your energy is sacred, that your sexual energy, the energy of creation, is one of the most powerful tools you have. When channeled in alignment with your highest self, this energy can be used to elevate your spirit, deepen your connection with the divine, and bring clarity to your mind. What if you could reclaim this energy and redirect it toward your spiritual journey, instead of allowing it to weaken your connection with the divine? As Proverbs 4:23 reminds us, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Guarding your energy is an act of spiritual self-care. By learning to channel your energy in healthy, sacred ways, you honor your connection with the divine and allow your energy to flow freely toward your highest purpose. When you stop wasting this vital force, you begin to strengthen your spiritual connection, and your ability to perceive the signs of the universe becomes sharper. By reclaiming your energy and redirecting it to practices that nurture your soul, prayer, meditation, creative expression, and connection with nature, you begin to align with your higher self and the divine flow. You start to feel more connected, more vibrant, and more in tune with the wisdom that is always available to you. This is the key to unlocking your spiritual potential, consciously directing your energy in alignment with your highest purpose. It is important to understand that the issue is not just physical, but spiritual. When you make a commitment to honor your body and your energy, you are stepping into your power as a chosen one. The act of reclaiming and channeling your sexual energy is not about repression, but about respecting the sacredness of your life force and using it to elevate your spiritual journey. In 1 Corinthians 6:18-20, we are called to flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. When you misuse this powerful energy, you are not only compromising your connection to the divine, but you are also hurting your own spiritual well-being. But by redirecting that energy towards spiritual practices, you create a stronger, more resilient connection to God and your divine mission. Are you ready to stop the cycle, reclaim your energy, and raise your vibration? It's not about perfection, it's about awareness, understanding, and commitment to redirecting your energy towards spiritual growth. By doing so, you will strengthen your connection to the divine, feel more aligned with your purpose, and experience the deep peace that comes with living in harmony with your higher self. As you walk the sacred path towards spiritual growth, you may begin to realize that many of your actions and habits hold more weight than you once believed. One of these habits, often overlooked, is the misuse of sexual energy, particularly through masturbation. Have you ever noticed that when this act is performed automatically and without awareness, it often brings with it more than just physical release? It is accompanied by thoughts, images, and stimuli that lower your vibrational frequency and disconnect you from your higher self. For the chosen ones, this is particularly dangerous. When you give in to temptation without mindfulness, the energy you expend goes beyond the physical realm. It infiltrates your spiritual space. What if I told you that each time this habit is indulged in, it doesn't just deplete you physically, but it also feeds negative energy into your spirituality? You may not realize it in the moment, but the fantasies, images, and content associated with masturbation carry energetic vibrations that further lower your frequency. This leaves you spiritually weaker, and it creates a dissonance in your energy field, preventing you from aligning fully with your divine purpose. In fact, many chosen ones report that after periods of abstinence, and once they regain control over this energy, they feel a stronger connection with their higher selves and God. They notice their intuition becoming sharper, their dreams becoming more lucid, and a heightened spiritual awareness. Why is that? Because when you abstain from the misuse of this vital energy, your spiritual energy is no longer being drained. It is being preserved and used to strengthen your spiritual connection, deepen your intuition, and guide you back to your true path. This is not just about controlling impulses. It is about protecting the sacred energy that has the potential to align you with divine purpose. How many times have you felt spiritually disconnected or empty after giving in to this habit? This is a clear indication that the act has impacted your spiritual life. You may feel distant from God, unable to hear your inner voice or receive the guidance you need. This isn't a punishment, but a natural consequence of misdirecting your energy. Your energy is sacred, and when you misuse it, you create a separation between yourself and the divine. The truth is, masturbation in isolation isn't simply about the physical act. It is deeply linked to the thoughts, images, and fantasies that fuel it. Have you ever wondered why these images or videos seem to bring you temporary satisfaction, only for you to feel empty afterward? These fantasies feed into the lower aspects of your energy, lowering your vibration and making it harder to connect to the higher realms of spiritual wisdom and clarity. The chosen ones, those who are attuned to higher spiritual frequencies, are especially sensitive to these energy shifts. When you engage in these practices unconsciously, your mind and soul begin to associate spiritual energy with low-frequency stimuli. And as your energy vibrates at a lower level, it becomes harder to tap into your divine intuition and spiritual guidance. In 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5, we are reminded, "It is God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable, not in passionate lust like the pagans who do not know God." This passage highlights the importance of controlling your sexual energy, not just for physical health, but for spiritual integrity. When you allow sexual energy to be misused, you are engaging in behavior that is not aligned with your sacred purpose as a chosen one. You are called to live with honor and sanctity, controlling your desires so that you can maintain your connection to the divine. What would it mean for you to reclaim that energy and consciously redirect it towards spiritual growth? Imagine how your life would change if you channeled your energy into deepening your relationship with God, enhancing your intuition, and strengthening your spiritual practice. You have the power to do so. By refraining from this cycle, you stop the energetic drain and begin to use that energy for your spiritual awakening. And so, the journey towards spiritual mastery begins with recognizing the power of your energy. Every time you engage in this practice, especially without awareness, you are not just giving away physical energy, you are giving away something far more precious, your spiritual life force. But when you choose to reclaim that energy, you become more aligned with your higher self, your intuition sharpens, and your connection with the divine deepens. In Matthew 6:22-3, it is written, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness?" What you choose to focus on, the images, the fantasies, and the content you consume, directly impacts your spiritual light. Are you ready to refocus your attention on the divine light that resides within you, to fill your life with energy that strengthens your connection with God and not diminish it? It is time for you to awaken to the sacredness of your energy and to use it for the highest good. Every act of self-discipline, every moment you choose to redirect your energy, is a step toward reclaiming your divine power and living in harmony with your spiritual path. By honoring your body and your spirit, you will begin to notice a profound transformation, one that brings clarity, strength, and a deeper connection to the divine. As a chosen one, you are uniquely attuned to the vibrations of the spiritual world, and this attunement carries immense power. Have you ever noticed how, when you preserve your energy, your spiritual vibration remains high and clear? Your sensitivity to the divine, to the universe's signs, and to your own intuition grows stronger. It is no coincidence that when you honor your body and your life force, you feel more aligned, more focused, and more in tune with the higher realms. Your energy, when conserved and channeled properly, strengthens your spiritual connection and elevates your vibration to the level where divine guidance can easily flow through you. But what happens when this energy is misdirected? When this energy is frequently wasted, particularly through the unchecked habit of masturbation, you may begin to feel a subtle detachment, as if your spiritual sensitivity has been dulled. The energy that should be used to propel you forward on your spiritual journey is instead being siphoned away, leaving you weaker and less connected. Have you noticed that after engaging in this habit, it becomes more difficult to focus on your spiritual practices, or that your connection to God feels distant? This is a direct result of the energy loss, and it creates a kind of spiritual void. Your vibration lowers, and with that, your capacity to sense the divine presence diminishes. This distancing does not stop there. When you deplete your energy in this way, you leave yourself open to energetic attacks, negative influences, and mental states of doubt and insecurity. It's as if the energy that should be protecting you, guarding your spirit, is now spent elsewhere, leaving you vulnerable. Have you noticed how, after periods of indulgence, your mind becomes more unstable, more prone to doubt, anxiety, or confusion? It becomes more difficult to think clearly, to hear the quiet whispers of your intuition, and to remain grounded in your spiritual truth. Your inner peace starts to erode, and in its place, restlessness and uncertainty take root. The reason for this is spiritual. When you give away your energy, especially to habits that drain you, you are no longer fully protected by the higher vibrations that connect you to the divine. You become more susceptible to negativity, both internally and externally. The enemy knows this and will try to sow seeds of doubt, fear, and confusion. These mental states are not just random or coincidental, they are a result of your energy field being weakened. Just as a shield protects the body from harm, your spiritual energy protects you from negative influences. When this shield is compromised, your mind and soul become more vulnerable to those lower frequencies. In 1 Peter 5-8, it is written, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour." This scripture highlights the spiritual truth. When you allow your energy to be drained, you make yourself more vulnerable to attack. Your shield of spiritual protection weakens, leaving you open to the forces that wish to steal your peace and clarity. Are you aware of the power your energy holds and how it can either shield you or leave you vulnerable to spiritual attack? But there is hope. The path to spiritual restoration begins with awareness and action. By reclaiming your energy and redirecting it toward higher, sacred purposes, you rebuild the protective shield that guards you from spiritual harm. As your energy is preserved and raised, your spiritual sensitivity increases once again. Your connection with the divine strengthens, your intuition becomes sharper, and your ability to remain grounded in your spiritual truth grows. In James 4-7-8, we are reminded, "Submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you." The act of reclaiming your energy is an act of resistance against the forces that seek to weaken you. When you align your energy with God's will and redirect it toward divine purpose, you fortify your spiritual defenses. The more you practice self-discipline, the more your energy becomes a tool for protection, spiritual growth, and alignment with your highest self. Have you felt the difference in your energy when you abstain from draining habits? Can you sense the shift in your vibration when you reclaim your energy and use it for spiritual elevation? This is the key to overcoming the cycle of depletion. By protecting your energy, you regain your clarity, your spiritual strength, and your ability to stay connected with God. Are you ready to break free from the cycle of energy depletion? It begins with reclaiming your energy, understanding the spiritual significance of this sacred life force, and redirecting it toward your spiritual journey. By doing so, you not only raise your vibration, but also protect yourself from the negative influences that seek to pull you away from your divine purpose. As you walk the sacred path of spiritual growth, one of the most important aspects of your journey is maintaining a strong and unwavering connection with God. Have you ever noticed how, when your spiritual connection is strong, you feel guided, protected, and aligned with your divine purpose? Your mission in this life is sacred, and maintaining focus on that mission is crucial. But there is a deeper spiritual truth that you must understand. Weakening your connection with God doesn't just affect your spiritual clarity, it also weakens your spiritual protection. Have you considered that when you allow your energy to be drained, you are also allowing spiritual defenses to weaken? When your connection with the divine is strong, your energy creates a natural protective field, an invisible shield that guards you from negative spiritual influences. This shield, however, is not indestructible. Every time you engage in practices that deplete your energy, such as uncontrolled masturbation, you slowly break down this protective barrier. When your energy is constantly drained, this shield weakens, and with it, you become more vulnerable to attacks from forces that want to keep you weak, lost, and off course. What would it mean for you to recognize that your spiritual protection is directly tied to how you manage your energy? When you misuse or waste your vital energy, you create an opening for negative influences to enter. This spiritual vulnerability has more serious consequences than many realize. Have you noticed how, when you feel spiritually weak, doubt and confusion begin to cloud your mind? It becomes harder to focus on your goals, your mission, and your spiritual path. You may even feel lost or disconnected from your divine purpose, as if your spiritual compass is no longer guiding you. This disconnection is not a mere feeling, it is a reflection of your weakened spiritual shield. When your energy is depleted, your spiritual protection is compromised, leaving you susceptible to external forces that thrive on confusion, fear, and doubt. These forces, often unseen, aim to keep you distracted, disconnected, and off your true path. In Ephesians 6:10-11, we are told, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." This armor of God is the protective shield that surrounds you, built from your spiritual strength and your alignment with the divine. But when your energy is drained, this armor weakens, and the forces that seek to derail your journey are given an opportunity to interfere. Your mind becomes unstable, your thoughts more scattered, and your connection to your higher self becomes harder to access. What happens when this shield begins to break down? The attacks begin. This is not a mere coincidence. When your energy is depleted through habits such as uncontrolled masturbation, the protective barrier around you weakens, and negative spiritual influences can enter more easily. The more frequently you engage in this cycle, the more your spiritual shield erodes, and the more vulnerable you become to these forces. Have you ever felt like, after a period of indulgence, your spiritual sensitivity is dulled? That is the result of your energy field becoming compromised. The energy that should be used to protect and guide you is instead drained, leaving you exposed to negative influences. When you engage in habits that weaken your energy, such as masturbation driven by fantasies or external stimuli, you open yourself to a lower frequency that brings you further away from divine protection. These forces thrive on your confusion, your doubt, and your disconnection, feeding off the energy that should be used for your spiritual evolution. What would it mean for you to stop feeding into these cycles and begin to protect your energy with the same reverence that you protect your soul? In Proverbs 4:23, we are reminded, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Guarding your heart means guarding your energy, your vital life force. When you maintain control over this energy and use it in alignment with your divine purpose, you not only protect your spiritual well-being, but you also strengthen your spiritual shield. This shield, when properly maintained, will guard you from negative influences and keep you on the path of your divine mission. You have the power to rebuild your spiritual protection by reclaiming your energy. Each time you choose to abstain from draining habits and redirect your energy toward practices that nourish your soul, such as prayer, meditation, and spiritual connection, you strengthen your spiritual armor. What would it feel like for you to reclaim that energy and build a stronger, more resilient spiritual shield? When your energy is aligned with your higher self and with God, your protection is fortified, and your ability to manifest divine clarity, guidance, and purpose increases. In Psalm 91:4, we find the reassurance that He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. This divine protection is available to you at all times, but it requires that you take responsibility for guarding your own energy. When you protect your energy and maintain your spiritual strength, God's shield becomes more effective in your life. You become immune to negative influences, and your vibration remains high, keeping you aligned with your spiritual path. Are you ready to protect your energy, reclaim your spiritual strength, and rebuild the shield that protects you from negative forces? The path is clear. You hold the power to stop this cycle, to redirect your energy, and to step into your spiritual power as a chosen one. When you make the decision to take control of your energy, you not only restore your spiritual protection, but you also create a stronger, more resilient connection with God. As you walk the sacred path of spiritual growth, one of the most powerful aspects of your journey is your energy, the very essence that fuels your connection to the divine. Have you noticed that after periods of indulgence in habits that drain your energy, such as masturbation, you begin to feel more anxious, restless, and even depressed? This isn't just a temporary feeling. It is a sign that your spiritual protection has weakened. Many chosen ones experience this exact shift. Small things in daily life begin to go wrong, unexpected difficulties appear, and an overwhelming feeling of being trapped or stuck in life becomes more pronounced. But what if I told you that this feeling of being stuck is no coincidence? When you allow your energy to be drained through unconscious acts, such as masturbation, your spiritual shield becomes weakened. And when this protective barrier falters, negative energies and spiritual entities find loopholes to infiltrate your energy field. These negative influences do not appear in obvious, dramatic ways. They operate subtly, almost imperceptibly. At first, the signs may be small. You begin to notice a creeping doubt or feel a constant undercurrent of insecurity. Your thoughts start to shift from clarity and purpose to confusion and self-sabotage. Have you ever experienced a sudden surge of doubt or negative thinking after giving in to this habit? This is the first step in the infiltration of negative forces. These entities and energies feed on the spiritual imbalance caused by energy depletion. They thrive in your vulnerability, and the more your spiritual protection weakens, the more they gain control over your thoughts and emotions. Initially, it begins with subtle thoughts of doubt. Am I on the right path? What if I'm not enough? I'm not worthy of the blessings I seek. These are not just random thoughts. They are spiritual parasites taking hold of your mind, feeding off your weakness. In Ephesians 6:12 we are reminded, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." These spiritual forces of evil often manifest subtly in the form of doubt, confusion, and self-sabotage. They thrive when your spiritual shield is weak, when your energy is depleted, and when you are no longer aligned with your divine purpose. Have you noticed how the more you give in to this cycle, the more you seem to attract negative circumstances and thoughts? The more you feed these forces, the stronger they become, until they can cloud your mind and disrupt your life. But the good news is this: you have the power to break free from this cycle. The key lies in reclaiming your energy and restoring your spiritual protection. What would it feel like to recognize that your energy is sacred and to consciously direct it towards practices that elevate your spirit and align you with the divine? By redirecting your energy away from negative habits, you not only regain your spiritual protection, but you also restore your clarity, focus, and connection to the divine. The first step is to acknowledge the subtle signs of spiritual attack. These thoughts of doubt and self-sabotage are not your true thoughts. They are the result of negative spiritual interference. Have you ever realized that these thoughts are not your own, but a result of external parasitic energies trying to control your mind? When you recognize this, you take back your power. The next step is to strengthen your energy field through spiritual practices such as prayer, meditation, fasting, and mindful living. These practices serve as spiritual armor, reinforcing your connection to the divine and preventing negative forces from infiltrating your mind. In 2 Corinthians 10:5, we are encouraged. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. When you take control over your thoughts, you take control over the spiritual energy that flows through you. By actively rejecting negative thoughts and replacing them with divine truth, you rebuild your spiritual protection and raise your vibration. How can you protect yourself from these subtle parasitic energies? By becoming aware of the shifts in your emotional and mental state, you can recognize when these negative influences are at work. When you feel anxious, restless, or disconnected, take a moment to pause and realign with your higher self. Engage in spiritual practices that restore your energy and raise your vibration. Pray, meditate, fast, or simply sit in stillness and reconnect with the divine. Each time you choose to redirect your energy toward these practices, you reinforce your spiritual armor and block these forces from entering your life. Remember, the more you protect your energy, the more your spiritual shield strengthens. When you refuse to surrender your energy to low-frequency habits, you build a natural barrier that repels negative influences. Your connection to the divine becomes clearer, your intuition stronger, and your spiritual purpose more aligned. Are you ready to take back your power, restore your spiritual protection, and stop the cycle of self-sabotage? In Psalm 91:10, we are reassured, no harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your tent. When your energy is aligned and protected, you are shielded from negative forces. Your life becomes more in tune with the divine flow, and you begin to experience peace, clarity, and spiritual growth. By consciously redirecting your energy, you strengthen your spiritual protection and create a life of divine alignment, free from the influence of negative spiritual forces. As you walk the sacred path of spiritual awakening, you may notice a subtle shift when your energy is being drained, especially through unconscious habits like masturbation. Have you ever felt like, after engaging in this cycle, you begin to question your path? Your confidence begins to fade, and you start doubting your mission, wondering if your spiritual goals are even attainable. This uncertainty is not a coincidence. As your spiritual energy weakens, your connection to your higher self and to God becomes clouded, leaving you vulnerable to negative emotions. When your energy is depleted, heavy emotions like guilt, fear, and anguish arise, further feeding the cycle of low energy. These emotions drain your vitality and compound the problem, pulling you deeper into spiritual confusion. Have you noticed how these feelings seem to intensify after moments of indulgence in this habit? They don't just vanish, they linger, constantly undermining your energy and making it harder to stay aligned with your divine purpose. Slowly but surely, your vibration drops, and you feel trapped in a vicious cycle of low-frequency energy. This feeling of being stuck, disconnected, and lost is one of the most dangerous consequences of misdirecting your energy. And the most insidious part of this is that when you are in this weakened state, you become an easy target for spiritual manipulation. The moment your energy is depleted and your connection to the divine is weakened, you open yourself to influences that seek to keep you disconnected, lost, and off your path. Negative forces know that when you are strong, your light shines brightly, and it has the power to transform the world around you. But when you are spiritually drained, weak, and unsure of yourself, your light dims. Have you ever felt like your influence and power to create positive change are limited when you are stuck in this cycle? These forces want you to remain in that weakened state because they know that when you're lost in confusion and doubt, you are less able to fulfill your divine mission. In Matthew 5:14-16, we are reminded, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." When you are spiritually strong and aligned with your divine purpose, your light cannot be hidden. You shine brightly, illuminating the path for others and creating a positive impact on the world around you. But when you allow your energy to be drained, your light dims, and you become just another face in the crowd, unnoticed and disconnected from your true mission. Have you ever felt that shift in your energy, where, after giving in to this habit, you suddenly feel small, unseen, and powerless? That is the effect of spiritual manipulation, when negative forces take advantage of your weakened state and cloud your sense of purpose. The more you feed into the cycle of energy depletion, the less influence you have in the world, and the more disconnected you feel from your true self. This is exactly what these forces want. They want you to feel like you are powerless, lost, and unable to fulfill your mission. But the good news is this: you can break free from this cycle. The first step is to reclaim your energy and your spiritual strength. What would it mean for you to acknowledge the power of your energy and commit to protecting it? When you choose to redirect your energy towards sacred practices that nourish your spirit, such as prayer, meditation, and mindful living, you begin to restore your spiritual protection. You stop feeding into the cycle of low-frequency energy and start rebuilding your spiritual shield. This protection acts as a force field, guarding you from negative influences and allowing you to shine your light brightly once again. In James 4:7-8 we are instructed, "Submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you." When you resist negative influences and choose to redirect your energy towards God, you fortify your spiritual strength. The more you align with your divine purpose, the stronger your light becomes, and the more invulnerable you are to the forces that seek to keep you trapped in confusion and doubt. Are you ready to take back your power and break free from this cycle? It starts with awareness, self-discipline, and a conscious effort to redirect your energy to higher purposes. By protecting your energy and reclaiming your spiritual strength, you not only protect yourself from negative influences, but you also regain your ability to shine brightly and fulfill your divine mission. In Psalm 27:1, it is written, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid?" When you are spiritually strong, when your energy is aligned and protected, there is no force that can stand against you. You are divinely protected, and your light will shine brighter than ever before. As a chosen one, you are deeply connected to your spiritual mission, and your energy is the key to fulfilling that mission. But have you ever noticed how, after periods of indulging in the habit of masturbation, your relationships with others start to change? It's not just a matter of feeling distant from your friends or family. It's as if something subtle shifts, creating difficulties in communication, misunderstandings, or even conflicts that seem to arise for no apparent reason. The truth is, this happens because your energy is no longer vibrating at the same frequency it once did. The people around you, even if they can't pinpoint it, can sense this change in your energy. Have you felt that shift in your interactions, as if you're no longer connecting in the same way with those you care about? When you misuse your energy through unchecked habits, such as masturbation, your vibration lowers. This creates a dissonance between you and the people around you. It becomes harder to connect on a deeper level, and your relationships, whether with family, friends, or even romantic partners, begin to feel distant and strained. This is not just about physical energy. It's about the subtle spiritual shift that happens when your connection to the divine is weakened. You may not see it immediately, but the lack of spiritual protection affects everything, including your ability to relate and communicate effectively with others. And here's where it gets even more concerning. When you are spiritually weak, your discernment begins to diminish. Have you ever found yourself making decisions that you later regret, or trusting the wrong people, only to realize too late that they weren't aligned with your purpose? When your energy is depleted, it becomes harder to discern what is true and what is false. Your intuition, the very guidance that has always helped you stay on the path of your divine purpose, becomes clouded. When your spiritual protection is compromised, you begin to lose the clarity you once had. The signs that were once so clear and so apparent now feel distant and confusing. This can lead you down paths that seem right, but ultimately lead you nowhere, all because your inner compass is no longer functioning at its highest frequency. What would it mean for you to reconnect with that inner clarity, to restore your discernment and spiritual awareness? The more you feed this cycle of indulgence, the further you stray from your divine path. And the worst part is that the longer you remain in this cycle, the harder it becomes to see the truth, to recognize the signs, and to trust your spiritual intuition again. This is the greatest danger of allowing your energy to be drained in such a way. Not only do you become disconnected from the divine, but you also lose the ability to make decisions aligned with your highest self. In Jeremiah 17:7-8, it is written, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes, its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit." When your trust is in God, when your energy is aligned with your divine purpose, you become like that tree, strong, rooted, and full of life. But when you allow your energy to be misdirected, your roots begin to wither, and your ability to bear fruit, to fulfill your spiritual mission, diminishes. This leads us to the core issue at hand: discipline. The chosen ones feel, from an early age, that there is something greater at work within them. You feel the calling to live a life of purpose, to walk a path that leads to something higher than the ordinary. But fulfilling that mission requires discipline. Discipline is the key that unlocks your spiritual power, the power to stay aligned with your higher self and with the divine. And this is exactly what this habit, repetitive masturbation, steals from you. When you give in to this habit, you're not just losing physical energy, you're losing the very discipline that is necessary for you to fulfill your divine purpose. Repetitive masturbation does not just affect your energy, it undermines your ability to maintain self-control and self-discipline, both of which are essential to your spiritual mission. Without discipline, you cannot move forward in your journey. You become trapped in a cycle of indulgence that keeps you from experiencing the fullness of the life you are meant to lead. In 1 Corinthians 9:27, Paul writes, "No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." Discipline is the practice of mastery over the body and the mind, keeping both aligned with the divine purpose. The more you allow yourself to indulge in this cycle, the more difficult it becomes to maintain that discipline. The path becomes muddied, your vision clouded, and your spiritual progress hindered. But there is hope. The first step in regaining your discipline is to recognize the power of your energy and understand that it is meant for something greater than temporary pleasures. The more you protect your energy, the more aligned you become with your spiritual mission. When you redirect your energy towards sacred practices such as prayer, meditation, and connecting with God, you regain your focus, your clarity, and your discipline. This discipline will not only help you reclaim your energy, but will also restore your spiritual protection, allowing you to fulfill your divine purpose and live the life you were truly meant to lead. Are you ready to break free from this cycle? Are you ready to reclaim your energy, restore your discipline, and live a life aligned with your divine mission? The path to spiritual restoration begins with awareness and commitment. By practicing discipline, redirecting your energy, and staying connected to God, you can step into the fullness of your power as a chosen one. As you walk the sacred path of spiritual growth, you may begin to recognize how every action affects your connection to the divine. Have you ever noticed how, after indulging in the habit of masturbation, your energy, motivation, and willpower seem to dissipate? It's not just a physical loss. Spiritually, your connection to God and your divine purpose weakens as well. This is because indulgence in this habit reprograms your brain, and with it, the natural flow of your spiritual energy. When you engage in this habit, your nervous system releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. But the problem is that over time, your brain gets used to this instant release of pleasure and starts to avoid activities that require effort, discipline, and patience. Have you noticed how, after indulging in this habit, you begin to feel lazier? Daily tasks become more difficult, procrastination increases, and that drive you once had to grow spiritually, to evolve, and to pursue your goals begins to vanish. The loss of discipline isn't just a matter of laziness, it's a spiritual consequence. This happens because your brain, conditioned to seek out instant gratification, no longer values the meaningful, longer processes that require discipline. How many times have you felt that your desire to study, meditate, or seek spiritual knowledge suddenly diminished after periods of indulgence? What once was a priority, your mission, your connection with the divine, your spiritual evolution, now feels less important. Little by little, you start putting your mission aside. What was once your driving force becomes something you postpone, and before you know it, you've lost sight of your path. And the most dangerous part is that this lack of discipline makes you more vulnerable to other distractions: social media, television, overeating, irregular sleep. Everything seems more tempting when your willpower is weakened. Have you ever noticed how, when your energy is depleted, other distractions begin to draw you in even more easily? The more you allow these distractions to take control, the more your spiritual vibration drops, and the harder it becomes to regain control of your life. And it's not just about losing focus on spiritual things. This habit also compromises your ability to achieve your goals. The very act of giving in weakens your resolve, making it harder to make meaningful progress in any area of your life. Have you ever found that your goals, whether spiritual or personal, seem farther out of reach simply because your discipline has been compromised? In Romans 7:15, Paul speaks to this inner struggle, saying, "I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate I do." This inner battle between the desires of the flesh and the spirit is real. It's not just about making the right choice in the moment. It's about a deeper, more spiritual struggle that affects your ability to stay aligned with God's will and your divine mission. This is the spiritual battle that so many chosen ones face when they struggle with misdirected energy. The problem is that when you continue to give in to these impulses, you reprogram your brain to seek instant pleasure instead of long-term growth. This makes it more difficult to stay disciplined and focused on your mission. How often have you found that after indulging in habits like masturbation, your desire to engage in spiritual practices or focus on your goals fades? What once was a priority becomes an afterthought. The more you give in, the harder it is to take control of your life again. In Proverbs 25-28 we are told, "Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Without self-discipline, your spiritual defenses are compromised." This is why it's so important to reclaim your energy and take control of your desires. When your energy is aligned and your willpower is strong, you begin to rebuild the walls of protection around your spirit, allowing you to reconnect with your higher self and live in alignment with your divine mission. But there is hope. You can break the cycle by practicing discipline. The first step is to recognize that this habit isn't just about physical release. It's a spiritual battle that affects your ability to stay focused, aligned, and empowered. When you abstain from this habit, you regain your spiritual strength and your connection to God, and your mission is restored. What would it mean for you to reclaim your discipline and direct your energy toward your divine purpose? In 1 Corinthians 9:27, Paul reminds us, "No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize." This is the power of discipline, the ability to control your body and direct your energy in alignment with your higher self. By choosing to redirect your energy toward higher purposes, you regain the spiritual discipline necessary to stay focused on your divine path. How can you begin to reclaim your energy and discipline? It starts with awareness. Recognize the importance of your energy and the way it affects your spiritual journey. Redirect your energy toward practices that align with your highest self: prayer, meditation, connecting with nature, and focusing on your spiritual growth. As you do this, you will find that your willpower returns, your focus sharpens, and your spiritual connection becomes stronger than ever before. In Psalm 119-105, it says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." When you align your energy with the divine, when you practice discipline and turn your focus back to God's will, you find clarity. The distractions that once clouded your path fade away, and your journey becomes brighter, clearer, and more aligned with your spiritual mission. Are you ready to take back control of your energy, rebuild your spiritual discipline, and realign with your divine purpose? The journey begins with one step: recognizing the power of your energy and committing to redirect it toward higher, more sacred purposes. By doing so, you will restore your spiritual connection, regain your focus, and step into the fullness of your mission as a chosen one. As a chosen one, you carry within you a unique gift, the power to manifest realities. Have you ever noticed how, when you're aligned and focused, your life seems to flow effortlessly? Opportunities arise, projects come together, and your purpose becomes clearer. This is not a coincidence, it's energy in motion. Everything you think, feel, and believe generates a vibrational frequency that attracts experiences, people, and opportunities into your life. But what happens when this powerful energy is misused? Many individuals, including chosen ones, get trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage, where their dreams, projects, and goals seem to go nowhere. Have you ever experienced the frustration of putting effort into something, only to feel like it leads to no progress? Whether in work, studies, or personal projects, everything seems stagnant. You may even feel like you're stuck in place, unable to move forward. This happens because the energy that should be used to create, manifest, and move you forward is being wasted uncontrollably, leaving you drained and disconnected from your true purpose. This creates a vicious cycle. When you begin to waste your energy, you feel frustrated and start blaming yourself. This self-blame creates guilt, which in turn further drains your energy, making it harder to focus and push forward. The mind, when caught in this loop, becomes increasingly clouded, and you begin to feel lost. Have you ever felt this way? As you turn to short-term pleasures for relief, whether through masturbation or other distractions, you only reinforce the cycle. Seeking relief in immediate pleasure weakens your ability to focus on your goals and desires. When you finally realize it, you find that your life is stagnant and your spiritual energy is depleted. But here's the truth. The chosen ones have a special gift, the ability to manifest their desires into reality. This isn't just about thinking positively or hoping for change. It's about using your energy in alignment with your highest purpose. Sexual energy is one of the most potent forces within a human being. It's not just a physical need, it's the creative force that propels all of life forward. Great spiritual masters have always warned about the importance of wisely directing this energy, because when you misuse it, you lose the very power that can create your reality. Sexual energy is pure creation. It's the same energy that creates life, fuels your passions, and drives your ability to manifest goals and dreams. But when you constantly drain this vital energy, particularly through habits like excessive masturbation, the power to attract and manifest things begins to crumble. Have you noticed that when you remain firm, focused, and disciplined, your life seems to flow better? It's almost as if the universe responds to your alignment by opening doors, offering opportunities, and aligning circumstances with your desires. This is the power of sexual energy. When properly harnessed, it can fuel your creative process, clear your mind, and help you step into the life you're meant to live. When you use this energy wisely, you direct it toward creating, building, and manifesting your goals. But when this energy is wasted, it creates a block not only in your spiritual life, but in your ability to move forward in any area of your life. The most challenging part is that when you're stuck in this cycle of indulgence and depletion, it becomes harder to see your own potential. The more you give in to the impulse, the weaker your manifestation power becomes. Instead of feeling empowered to create your reality, you begin to feel powerless, disconnected, and trapped in a cycle of frustration. Have you ever experienced that feeling where, no matter how hard you try, things just don't seem to click? That's the energy at work. When your sexual energy is misdirected, your manifestation power diminishes and the flow of abundance is interrupted. In Proverbs 4:23, we are reminded, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." This is a powerful reminder that your energy is sacred. Your heart, your passions, and your desires are all intricately linked to the energy you cultivate. When you guard and protect your energy, especially your sexual energy, you begin to align your life with your divine mission. When you channel this force wisely, your path becomes clearer. and the manifestations begin to flow. Have you ever noticed that when you're focused and disciplined, your energy feels vibrant and your life flows better? Suddenly, things begin to fall into place. This is because your energy is no longer being wasted on fleeting pleasures. You are now aligned with your purpose, and your creative energy is being used to bring about the life you truly desire. The key to breaking free from this cycle is recognizing the power of your energy and the role it plays in your ability to manifest your dreams. When you reclaim your energy, you unlock your spiritual potential and regain control over your life. Rather than being trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage, you become a powerful creator, directing your energy toward the things that truly matter. In Romans 12:2 we are urged, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." The transformation begins with you. By redirecting your energy, focusing on discipline, and stepping into alignment with your divine purpose, you begin to transform your life and create the world around you according to God's will. You have the ability to manifest your desires, but it requires discipline, focus, and the wise use of your energy. Are you ready to step into your full potential as a chosen one? The path begins by reclaiming your energy, breaking free from the cycle of depletion, and directing that energy toward your divine purpose. With discipline, focus, and alignment, you will unlock the power to create the life you were meant to live. As a chosen one, you carry within you a divine power, the ability to manifest your reality and create the life you desire. Have you ever experienced a moment when everything seemed to fall into place, when the right people showed up and answers came easily? This isn't just a coincidence. It happens because your energy is being directed correctly, in alignment with your purpose and with God's will. But what happens when that energy is misused, when it is spent unconsciously and uncontrollably? That's when everything begins to shift. When your energy is drained through habits like masturbation, your vibrational frequency weakens. It's as if your power of manifestation starts to dissipate. Your once strong and magnetic energy field becomes fragmented and unstable, and you begin to doubt yourself. Have you ever noticed how, after giving in to this habit, your confidence falters and you feel stuck in a cycle of frustration? You start to feel as if everything is blocked, and your intuition becomes clouded. The mental clarity that was once so clear fades into confusion. This is where the real danger lies. When your spiritual protection weakens, you become vulnerable to negative forces, entities that feed off your weakened state, draining you further. The more you feel disconnected from your purpose, the more susceptible you become to spiritual manipulation. Demons and parasitic energies thrive in this state of vulnerability, exploiting your doubts and fears. They seek to keep you weak, off track, and far from the powerful, purpose-driven life you are meant to live. Have you ever felt like when you're spiritually weak, everything you do just doesn't work out? These forces work to keep you stuck, but there's hope. The first step is to reclaim your mental clarity. When your energy is intact, your mind becomes sharper, your intuition stronger, and your ability to see opportunities becomes clearer. But when this energy is wasted, your mind becomes clouded, distracted, and disconnected from your inner power. Have you noticed how, after indulgence, your thoughts seem scattered and you lose focus on the things that once mattered most? This lack of clarity is a result of your creative energy being drained, and it affects all areas of your life. If you are trying to manifest prosperity but are stuck in this cycle of wasted energy, you may find that abundance feels out of reach. If you are seeking a greater purpose but can't break free from stagnation, it may be because your creative energy is being drained. Abundance slips away when you aren't aligned with the energy required to attract it. The good news is this: your manifestation energy can be restored. Just like a muscle that needs strengthening, your spiritual energy can be rebuilt, but only when you begin to consciously channel it. In Romans 8:11, we are reminded, "And if the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, He who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies because of his Spirit who lives in you. This passage speaks to the divine life force that resides within you. When you consciously redirect your energy towards spiritual practices, that same divine power can restore your life, energize your mind, and realign your purpose. The key to breaking the cycle of stagnation is in redirecting your energy in a way that aligns with God's will and your divine mission. The second step in reclaiming your power is transmuting your energy. Sexual energy is one of the most powerful forces within you. It is meant for creation and manifestation, but it needs to be directed with purpose. If you don't consciously channel this energy, it will manifest in uncontrolled ways, often causing spiritual and emotional turbulence. This is why practices like physical exercise, meditation, prayer, and breathing techniques are so important. These practices allow you to redirect your life force into positive and spiritually aligned endeavors. When you engage in these practices, you transmute your energy into something higher and more purposeful. You stop wasting your energy and start using it to build the life you desire, one that is aligned with your divine mission. Have you ever felt the clarity and power that comes when you redirect your focus from temporary pleasures to spiritual growth? The more you practice this discipline, the more your energy aligns with your highest purpose, and the manifestations begin to flow. In 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, Paul reminds us, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own, you were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies. Your body is a vessel for the Holy Spirit, and it is your responsibility to honor it." When you consciously direct your sexual energy towards spiritual growth, you honor your body as the sacred vessel it was created to be. You reclaim your energy, protect your spiritual clarity, and step into alignment with God's will. So, what does it take to break the cycle and reclaim your energy? It begins with awareness, recognizing that this is not a harmless habit. Every time you indulge, your energy is being drained. You're opening doors to negative forces, and you're distancing yourself from your true mission. When you gain clarity on this, you shift from autopilot mode to conscious action. The next step is transmuting this energy, redirecting it into practices that nourish your soul and connect you with your divine purpose. Are you ready to step into your power as a chosen one? The path forward begins with discipline, awareness, and conscious redirection of your energy. When you do this, your life will flow with divine guidance, abundance, and the clarity you've been seeking. Reclaim your energy, restore your connection with God, and watch as the doors to your divine purpose open. As a chosen one, you carry within you divine power and purpose. When you are aligned with your higher self, everything seems to flow effortlessly, and doors open in every area of your life. Have you ever experienced that feeling of clarity and purpose when you are connected to your energy in the right way? That is the manifestation of your energy being directed correctly. But what happens when that energy is misused? When it is spent unconsciously and uncontrollably? When your energy is drained, your vibrational frequency weakens. It's as if the power of manifestation, the very force that can shape your reality, starts to dissipate. What was once a strong magnetic force begins to fragment and become unstable. You may feel a sense of doubt creeping in, negative thoughts taking hold, and everything in your life feeling blocked or stagnant. Have you ever felt that your life is stuck, your energy is depleted, and no matter what you do, it just doesn't seem to move forward? This is the result of misdirected energy, and it creates a space where you feel disconnected from your true self and from your mission. As we've discussed before, this state of vulnerability leaves you open to spiritual interference. Negative entities, demons, and parasitic forces feed on this weakened energy, and the more you give in to these habits, the harder it is to regain control of your life. These forces want to keep you stuck, disconnected, and far from your divine purpose. Have you noticed how, when you feel vulnerable, everything seems more difficult. Opportunities are harder to come by, and it feels like the universe is working against you. One of the most important aspects of breaking this cycle is reclaiming mental clarity. When your energy is intact and directed toward your divine purpose, your mind becomes sharper, your intuition strengthens, and you begin to recognize opportunities that were previously hidden. Have you ever experienced that sharpness of mind, that inner clarity, when you are aligned with your highest self? But when your energy is wasted, your mind becomes clouded, confused, and distracted. Your ability to discern what is true and what is false is compromised, and this affects all areas of your life. When you are trying to manifest prosperity but are stuck in a cycle of wasted energy, abundance slips away. When seeking purpose but trapped in stagnation, it could be because your creative energy is being drained. But there is good news. This energy can be restored. Like a muscle that needs strengthening, manifestation energy can be recovered when you begin to consciously direct it again toward your divine purpose. In Isaiah 40:29, it is written, "He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak." God is always ready to restore your strength when you turn to Him. When you realize the importance of aligning your energy with His will, no matter how weak or drained you may feel, God can restore your vitality and guide you back to your purpose. The first step to breaking this cycle is awareness. You must understand that this is not a harmless habit. Every time you give in to it, your energy is being drained, and you are unknowingly opening doors to spiritual forces that want to keep you weak. Have you realized the true spiritual cost of giving in to this habit? Awareness is the key that will shift you out of autopilot mode and into conscious action. This clarity changes everything. Once you recognize the impact of this habit on your energy and your life, you will begin to reclaim your power and redirect your energy. The second step is transmuting your energy. Sexual energy is one of the most powerful forces within you. If left unchecked, it can manifest in unhealthy ways, but when directed consciously, it becomes a powerful tool for creation. How can you begin to channel this energy positively? Through practices like physical exercise, meditation, prayer, and breathing techniques, you can redirect this energy into positive, creative pursuits that align with your highest self and divine purpose. Redirecting your energy is not about suppressing it, but about transmuting it into something sacred and aligned with your mission. The more you practice discipline and consciously redirect your energy, the stronger and more focused your manifestation abilities become. Have you felt how, when you are disciplined and intentional about your energy, your life begins to shift? In Romans 12:2, we are told, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." Transformation begins in the mind. When you renew your mind, you begin to see clearly again, and you align your actions with God's will. Redirect your energy toward what is good, pleasing, and perfect in His sight, and you will experience spiritual renewal. So, how do you break free from this cycle? The first step is awareness, understanding that this habit is not harmless and that it drains your energy and your spiritual power. The second step is transmuting this energy, redirecting it into practices that align you with your highest purpose and spiritual growth. When you reclaim your energy, you restore clarity, focus, and connection with God. You become empowered to manifest your divine mission. Are you ready to step into your full potential as a chosen one? Through awareness, discipline, and divine connection, you can break free from this cycle and reclaim your energy. When you do, your life will begin to change, and you will see doors open, opportunities unfold, and your spiritual connection grow stronger. As we've explored throughout this journey, the power you carry within as a chosen one is immense. Your energy is not just a physical force, it is spiritual, divine, and full of potential. Every choice you make with your energy shapes the path ahead. Whether you direct it consciously toward your divine mission or allow it to be wasted, your energy has profound consequences on your life, your relationships, and your spiritual growth. When we fall into the cycle of energy depletion, especially through habits like masturbation, we lose more than just physical vitality. We lose mental clarity, spiritual alignment, and the ability to manifest our deepest desires. This is not just about self-control or willpower. It is about understanding the sacredness of your energy and how misusing it opens doors to spiritual stagnation and vulnerability. The more you direct your energy toward purpose-driven activities, prayer, self-discipline, and self-care, the more your divine mission becomes clearer and your life will begin to flow with greater purpose. It is important to remember that you are not alone in this journey. God's strength is always available to you. As Philippians 4:13 reminds us, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. When you connect to the divine and ask for strength, guidance, and protection, you can break free from any cycle that holds you back. This battle is not just about avoiding temptation, it is about reclaiming your energy and using it for something greater, something that fulfills you, aligns you with your divine purpose, and helps you manifest the life you've always dreamed of. Breaking the cycle of wasted energy isn't easy, but it is possible. The first step is awareness, recognizing that your energy is sacred and understanding the consequences of misdirecting it. The second step is action, using your energy for creation, for spiritual growth, for your purpose. With each step forward, you reclaim your power and align more closely with God's will. Remember that this journey takes discipline, patience, and grace. Now is the time to take charge of your energy. Don't let this powerful force slip away, making you feel weak and disconnected. Redirect your energy toward positive, creative endeavors, whether through prayer, spiritual practice, fitness, or working toward your life goals. The more you direct your energy towards these things, the less room there is for distractions, and the more you'll feel aligned with your divine purpose. If you found value in this message, I invite you to engage with this community. Like, share, and comment below with your thoughts and experiences. If you feel moved by this message, I also invite you to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving uplifting content that helps you grow spiritually and reclaim your divine power. Whether or not you choose to support through super thanks, your presence and participation are truly appreciated. I'm deeply grateful for each and every one of you. Your journey matters, and your energy is precious. Now, as you go forward in reclaiming your energy and stepping into your full potential, I pray that you find strength, clarity, and unwavering connection with your divine mission. May your path be filled with light, love, and divine purpose. You are chosen, and the world needs your light. God bless you all on this journey.